Hello everyone, this is Miss Lisa here. We had a really good class last week. It was our first lesson at the Black Rock Center for the Arts in Germantown, Maryland. Miss Yang and I were very excited to be teaching this class, and last week we had a really fun time. In this video, I'm going to talk about a few things. First, we're going to have a couple of quick announcements because some parents weren't there last lesson. Second thing is I'm going to talk a bit about sketchbooks, what to put in the sketchbooks, and I will show you some of my sketches in my sketchbook. In part 3, we're going to have a recap of what we learned in the last lesson. Remember, we learned about shapes and lines, so we're going to just briefly go over that so you remember what we talked about. Number 4, I'm going to talk about the drawing that we did with Miss Yang last week, the puppy and the kennel. Number 5, I'm going to do a quick demo of how to draw a penguin by using the things that we talked about in class last time. Number 6, this is more for the parents. I'll go over a few things that we parents can do at home to help your child succeed. Okay, so let's start with part 1. A couple of quick announcements. For our colored pencil class, we still have space in the class if you would like to bring a friend to join us. And since we already started the class, if they join after the first lesson, the tuition will be prorated. They can contact me or call the Art Center directly for more information. And the second announcement is the art contest that we have going on right now. This art contest is for students in elementary school. The theme is My Dream. The deadline is end of this month, and you can take a look at the details at our website. Part 2, sketchbooks. I talked about sketchbooks briefly last time in class, and today I'd like to show you what I have in my sketchbook. What's a sketchbook for? The answer seems obvious. Of course, it's for drawings, but actually it can be a lot more than just drawings. One of the things you want to put in your sketchbook, of course, is something that you like to draw. So something nice. This is what I was playing with. A sketchbook is also a place where you can learn and practice. Here I was practicing lines, drawing lines. Here I was studying shadow and light. And here I was studying expressions, different expressions, happy, sad, excited, nervous, angry. Okay. And the third thing that I like to put in my sketchbook are ideas. This is a very rough sketch of a picture from a story that I've been working on. It's a giraffe with a bunny on its back. So you can see that it's not totally finished. I was experimenting, I was exploring, and so it is far from perfect. Here I was trying to work on a flamingo character. And so I was experimenting and exploring how she would look like and how she would look when she reads a magazine. And so this is the final drawing that I came up with, but it all started with the sketchbook. So here I was working on a mouse character, and I was trying to figure out how the ears are gonna look like, how big they are compared to the head, the shape of the head and the size of the body, and so forth. And so this was something that I came up with after experimenting in the sketchbook. But after some time, I refined that, and this is the final image. So things in your sketchbook doesn't have to be the final product. It could be a work in progress. Here I was working on an image of a stack of snowmen. So I was trying that out, and then I wasn't too happy with that, so I was trying it again in another page, and again on yet another page, and more. Actually, I had tried a lot more than these 4 pages, and finally this is the product. So my point is, your sketchbook is a place where you can explore and experiment. It's like a playground for your drawings. It doesn't need to be perfect. So if you don't like something that you drew on one page, it's okay. You don't need to throw it away. Just turn the page and then work on another version of it. And a lot of times you come back and look at your original ideas, you might come up with something else. And you can also see the progress that you've made. So a year from today, when you look back at all your sketches that you did today, you will see that you have improved a lot. Part 3. We did a warm-up exercise with the children during the beginning of class. We talked about using different shapes and lines to make up an image. By using simple shapes, they can draw almost anything. Square, circle, triangle, and other forms of these shapes are rectangles, oval, different types of triangles. We also talked about the lines that they can use in their drawings. Straight lines, wavy lines, zigzag lines. So basically, by using simple shapes, we can draw many things. We looked at a picture from this book, Bear Sees Colors. And this is the picture that we looked at, and we talked about how we can break this bear down into simple shapes so that we can draw it. So looking at this bear, it seems a bit difficult to draw, but let's see how we can break it down into simple shapes. So first, for the head, I'm going to use a small circle, and then for his round behind, I'm going to use a bigger circle, and for his nose, I see kind of a triangle right there. So for his legs, I'll draw some triangles. A little triangle for his feet. Oops. And finally, for the body, I'm just going to connect these 2 circles. And so you can see, oh, and also for the ears, I'll just put 2 little circles there. Okay, so as you can see, we can actually draw this bear by using simple shapes. Let's look at another example that we showed the children. I took a picture from this book, Duck and Goose, Time for Christmas. We looked at these 2 characters and we talked about how we can break them down if we want to draw them. So first off, looking at the goose, for the head, I can use a circle to represent that. And for the beak, that obviously is a triangle. And for the body, this is a little tricky. It looks like a half circle. And then for the hat, there's a triangle right there. And for the legs, it's just 2 lines. This looks like an L. And for the wing, it's a small triangle. And going on to the duck, again, the head is a small circle, and then the body, it's a half circle. This looks like between a rectangle and a triangle, and the legs, you can use simple shapes to represent them. Okay, so as you can see, we can also use simple shapes to draw these two characters. So after I showed them these examples, I asked them to use shapes to make up images of their own. So you can go back to your child's sketchbook and see what they came up with. So I'll show you some examples that I can come up with simple shapes like circle, triangle, square, and some lines. Okay? Let's see what this is. It's a tree, one circle, two circle, a triangle, a half circle, two lines, small circle, rectangle, a line, another big circle, small circles, how about mountains? Big mountains and small mountains. And let's see, big circle and a small circle, two triangles, a squiggly line. And look, what's this? This is a person. What's he doing? Let's add some wavy lines. He's diving or swimming. Part 4. We did a drawing with Miss Yang in the last lesson. It was the puppy with his house and his snack. And while we were drawing, Miss Yang taught us a few things. First, composition. Miss Yang talked about how we can break down a space into different areas, and then how we can put the main character into the picture, and how we can put then the other items that are of less importance into the picture. Then we learned how to use simple shapes to make up an image, just like what we talked about. So for the puppy, we learned that the head is actually a U shape. For the ears, it's two triangles. And then connect the line in between. For the legs, it looks like this, and it actually looks like an H. For the body, it's a rectangle. And then for the hind leg, it's like a teardrop shape, and then with a circle as the tail. And for the eyes, we have two large circles and two small circles inside, and so on. And for the bone, for example, we start with two simple lines that is the same length, and then this is a number 3. On the other side, it's also the number 3, but it's flipped the other way. Another thing that Miss Yang taught us was coloring techniques. After we did the outline of the puppy, we took out our colored pencils and started coloring. What we see a lot of students do is they take the area that they want to color and start from the middle, like this. When you color like this, you tend to leave a lot of blank spaces. And so at the end, the picture would look incomplete. A better way to do this is you take the area that you want to color and you still first work on the edges. Make sure you get all the way to the edge of the line and then fill in the color. And if you see white spaces, color it in. Another thing Ms. Yang talked about was line variation. In our drawing, for example, if we have a cloud like this, we can actually add interest to it by adding different types of lines. For example, dotted lines like this. It just makes the picture more interesting to look at. And it also grabs your attention. Demonstration. I'm going to use the skills that we've learned so far and also the steps that we've learned to complete a drawing of a penguin. First, because I'm not too familiar with how a penguin looks like, I'm going to use a photo as a reference. So this is a penguin that I have at home. The first step is to see what shapes this penguin might consist of. Try to break it down into big shapes. What shapes do you see? We'll use a pencil to outline a rough draft of the penguin. For the head, I see a circle. And for the body, I also see a circle right here, but it's slightly bigger than the first circle. So here we go. Okay, and for the feet, it looks like they're circles too. For the arm, it's kind of like a rectangle. For the eyes, two circles. The beak, it's an oval. Probably can't see it, but there's a line in between. So that's his beak. And to define the different colors on his face, we're gonna follow this outline here. It's like a U that is upside down, and over here as well is also a U. Breaking down the penguin into big shapes help us draw the penguin. So this is a rough draft of the shapes I'll put together. I'm going to use my pencil again to just refine what I already have. So the arms are actually not exactly rectangles. It has a rounder shape right here. So I'm just going to make it rounder. So it does look like a penguin's flippers. And then the next step is to take out our micron. And we're going to do the outline of the penguin. We'll follow the pencil outlines. And we actually don't need this line here, so we're gonna erase it later. And here are the flippers, the feet, all right. And so the next step is to take out our eraser and erase the pencil drawing. So now we're ready to color. I'll start with the black. And remember what Miss Yang said about coloring. We want to try to get the edges first. Try to get all the edges first and then fill up the empty space. The other color that the penguin has is orange. How does your penguin look like? Part 6, helping your child succeed. Here are a few things that we as parents can do to try to help our children as they learn to draw. First off, positive reinforcement. When we tell our children their work is good, we need to be genuine and we need to be specific. For example, I like how you put purple on Mommy's dress because you remember that purple is Mommy's favorite color. I like how you observe that Grandma's hair is curly. Ask questions about what they drew. Talk to your child to see whether there's a story behind the drawing. Who are these fish? Are they friends? Are they enemies? Are they father and son? The fish looks fierce with his big teeth. Is he going to eat the little fish? Or are they actually friends? Where are they going? What are they doing? By being genuine and specific in your praises and by asking questions, you're showing interest in your child's work. And we all know that when we work hard at something, it's nice that someone notices and points the things out that we did well. Another thing that we can encourage our children is to tell them to finish things. Sometimes it's easy to give up. They might have started out drawing something and it didn't look as good as they expected and they want to give up on it. If possible, encourage them to try to finish it. Because sometimes if you keep going, you're going to explore a lot more and you never know what you will come up with at the end. So unless you finish something or keep exploring something, you never know what you can accomplish. Remember the pictures that I showed you from my sketchbook of the stack of snowmen? If I had given up in the first page of the snowman, if I drew one or two snowmen and thought, well, this is not that good, I'm not going to finish this, I would have never came up with the final image of the snowman. In the last lesson, when we talked to parents and grandparents who came by, we heard some comments such as, oh, he's always drawing the same thing. He's always drawing cars or he's always drawing planes. He's not drawing anything else. And we try to get him to draw something else. I think it's okay. It's more important at this age, to keep their interest instead of picking apart what they should have done or what they should do, what they could have done. We want to encourage them to keep trying. And if drawing planes is what they love to do, just let them draw planes as much as they like. We told the students that they can draw whatever they want on the sketchbooks, and in the next lesson, come back and show us what you drew. Okay, so that's all for this video. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in lesson 2.